Whether you are looking to build a new career or kickstart that new idea that you've got,
Microsoft Reactor connects you with the developers and startups that share your goals.
Learn new skills, meet new peers, and discover the latest in technology.
Events are running around the clock, so join us anytime, anywhere.
Reactors are communities to connect. We want you to meet real developers and entrepreneurs just like you. Here you can get skilled up and learn from our product experts in the Microsoft Cloud and in open source. So watch us on demand and share your own perspective as we live stream in communities all around the world.
Hey there, everyone. Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all who all are joining us globally. I am Partharu, Events and Program Manager for Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru. And yes, I welcome you all to yet another episode of Copilot Chronicles. But before we start our today's session, let's go through our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding their differences, be kind and considerate in a way you all engage. Yes, we do encourage you all to participate. Please drop all your questions in the chat section and we will take it up from there. Now, I would not like to wait more. I'd like to bring in Kamal, our event host and a developer advocate from Microsoft. Hey, hi Kamal, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Parth. How about you?
I'm great. I'm great. I heard that it was a great global Copilot summit that you had globally.
Yes, indeed. 16 cities in person, virtually hybrid with almost 2,500 registrations, 80 speakers. I think it was a huge success, and definitely kudos to all the speakers, organizers, Reactor team like you, and the audience, amazing audience, the security team, where we were not able to manage the crowd in Hyderabad. So a lot of support from the advocacy. So definitely it was a teamwork, and yeah, looking forward to it. And yeah,
Wow, great. Congrats for the success.
thank you so much. And yeah, so without further ado, again, welcome again to another episode of Copilot Chronicles. I'm Kamal. I'm a developer advocate at Microsoft. Today, before we start with that, I'll also share you the glimpse of the final video that we had, where I'm kind of sharing all the 16 cities event. How did it go? So a short glimpse. I will share the link very soon. So coming to today's session, we're going to start with a very fresh new purview of what Microsoft Fabric Copilot is in terms of a startup mode. So it is like finding out the strategies for the advanced, or maybe the advanced data strategies for unlocking the new horizons. How do I get into it? Or it could be like, how do you think a startup will be kind of benefited with the sessions? If you see, it is more of the data analysis part, or more of data management. And overall, at the end, it comes to the business efficiency, right? How do you drive your AI driven insight and automation? So we're going to see that all using Microsoft Fabric Copilot. So today with me, without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker, Rajneesh, who's the Director of Technology at Virtusa Consulting, USA. He's also a Microsoft MVP certified trainer, Microsoft certified trainer, and a Databricks champion with almost 2 decades of experience. So definitely this is going to be an insightful session. So welcome you, Rajneesh, to Copilot Chronicles, and looking forward to it. And the stage is all yours.
The floor is all yours. Yep.
Thank you, Kamal. Hope you guys can see my screen. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our session, Advanced Data Strategies with Microsoft Fabric Copilot. I am Rajneesh Kaushik, and it is a pleasure to be here with you today. So let's get started. So here is a brief about myself. To start off, let me introduce myself that I'm Microsoft MVP, Microsoft MCT, and Databricks champion, and a TOGAF certified enterprise architect with over 2 decades of experience in delivering the complex software architectures for the Fortune 500 companies. I'm a public speaker and regularly contributing to the Microsoft technology events. Currently, I'm working at Virtusa as a director of technology. Virtusa is a global leader in digital engineering and IT services. And Virtusa partners with some of the leading enterprises to drive the digital transformation and solve complex business challenges with cutting edge technology and deep industry expertise. Our mission is to help our customers to leverage their technology to achieve their business goals and stay ahead in the competitive landscape. So now let me share a quick story to start off the session. And suppose you are a manager in a company which is overseeing a very business critical project, right? And you need to explore a vast amount of data, and this data, is very important for your enterprise. You need to gain insights from it, predict the outcomes, and make informed and critical decisions for your enterprise. How will you do that, especially when your team is working under the tight deadlines, and then you need a solution which can help you to streamline your data analysis and provide actionable insights in no time? How will you do that? Imagine this situation, right? And here comes the Microsoft Fabric Copilot. It is a very powerful tool with AI driven capabilities inbuilt into it. Fabric Copilot can help you to explore the large amount of data efficiently, perform complex data manipulation, data transformations, and build machine learning models without needing a much expertise on the coding knowledge, right? And it, on the top of it, it enables your enterprises, or it makes you a citizen developer, which focuses more on the strategic decision making, right, instead of getting bogged down into the technical capabilities or the coding skills. So that is how the power, it brings to the table, to the enterprises. So let's get started with the, what is the agenda for today's session. So we this agenda, we are going to first understand what is the outcome of this session with the learning objective. What is Microsoft Fabric and why there is so much buzz about this tool? Why it is a game changer in the industry since the time it launched in November last year, right? Then we will learn how do we set up the Fabric Copilot, because once and it is couple of steps, and then it is ready to be used. Then we will understand what are the magic commands which can be used to create a nice experience and get the Copilot work for you. Then we will dwell deeper into the advanced data strategies, how to exploit the capabilities of this tool to its greatest extent. We will jump to a couple of demos, right? So it's going to be a learning, hands-on learning demos, where if you want, you can open your Fabric Copilot and then start learning the way I'm showing you those steps. So first demo will be creating a data flow with Microsoft Fabric Copilot. Then we will dwell deeper into the data science part of it, where we will generate some data science insights from the Copilot without knowing the code, right? So that is a strength of this tool. Then we will explore the data science with Fabric Copilot with doing some machine learning experiments, and we will wrap up the session with the Q&A. So let's get started. So first and foremost, you might be thinking about what is Microsoft Fabric. So in this session, we are going to learn comprehensive overview of what is Fabric and why it is a pivotal tool in the modern data analytics, right? Since the time this tool was launched last year in November, it has really created a buzz, and everybody is talking about Fabric, right? Because it provides a unique capabilities. So that is one. Then we are going to explore the Copilot capabilities, which means that how can you automate your code development? How can you develop the code with data analysis capabilities, creating a complex machine learning model, and then development of all the queries, and that too without knowing the syntax of the code, right? If you know the English language, good enough. You can develop any code with that. And that is what it brings to the table. Then we will understand the practical applications. How do we utilize it for the real work, which means the data science and predictive analytics, right? And then finally, we will understand how can we leverage this Copilot to enhance the productivity if we follow some advanced data strategies, right? So that is where the whole, expertise, you can build on the top of it if you know these advanced data strategies. So that is the overall focus of the session. So with this, we'll further drill down into the first topic, what is Microsoft Fabric and why it is a game changer, why there is a lots of talks happening about it. So, uh, in a typical environment, right, analytics is a complex game, right? Whenever you talk about data and analytics today, analytics is a very complex and fragmented. Why it is fragmented and complex? Because every project you might be working there, first of all, there might be couple of projects working simultaneously, right, to get the data from the analytics. And when I say analytics, it means that there are lots of subsystems involved in that, with the different set of products, different set of tools, right? For example, people might be using Oracle, they might be using some part of Azure, some different set of tools altogether, right? And all these tool comes with multiple vendors, like, right? So if you talk about Tableau, Power BI, these different vendors, right? And this integration between these tools become very, very complex, fragile, and it becomes a very expensive proposition for any enterprise, right? Because first of all, you need to dwell deeper into the different licensing experiences, right? Different tools need a different integration points, right? And it's not easy. So how do we build this that analytics space, so that we can avoid this complexity? And there is a lots of fragmented tools, right, which is coming up. Like if you see this slide there, you see this on the on premises, the data is coming ingested, and then the data is getting processed in the Azure, right? And after that, data is being consumed in the right side with the Power BI reports, right? And this is too complex, right? Too many things, right? Too many different interfaces, different tools, different projects working on specific set of tools based on their requirements, right? And that is where this complexity is multifolded. So how do we make sure that we can avoid this complexity and fragmentation? So that is where um, you know uh, the power of analytics from the Fabric comes, right? And all these problems are multifolded when your environment is scaling up, when you add couple of new projects. So what is the solution to this issue, right? So there is a silver lining. Why is a silver lining today? Because analytics has actually, even if you say that there are lots of different tools and different fragmented systems, still there is a predictable patterns around it. When I say predictable patterns, it means that there is a data integration patterns, there is a specific set of data ingestion patterns, data warehousing patterns, right? Some of the projects might be working on real-time analytics, so that there is the pattern around it, right? There is a data science, machine learning projects which is running, right? Or there might be business intelligence, Power BI reports, or some different tools we are working on. So there is a pattern around it, and that pattern, and the good part is that Microsoft ecosystem has all these products with the right scale, and which can help you to build a complete end-to-end analytics platform, right? That is the power of the Microsoft platform, which brings all the tools together in a right scale. So how do we utilize this tools? So let's learn that how can we utilize these tools. So if you see, for data integration today in Microsoft ecosystem, we have a data factory, right? You have, for data engineering, you have a Synapse and the Spark pools. For data warehousing, you have a Synapse again. For real-time analytics, also you have these tools. Data science, you have a machine learning. Power BI, you can use for business intelligence. And then you can also use ADLS Gen 2. And then there are lots of good tools like Purview, right? And then this Purview also works very well with Microsoft 365 governance, right? So all these tools are readily already available in the ecosystem, but still it is a far too complex. Why it is far too complex? Because many products, right? Purview, Power BI, Costo Query, Data Factory, Synapse Data Warehouse, Synapse Spark. These tools are great tools in its own right. There are different products altogether, and then these tools require a different set of experience. If you switch your focus from one tool to another tool, the experience is completely different. The UI is completely different, right? If you see about the PaaS and SaaS, there are some tools which works on the PaaS, there are some tools which works on the SaaS, and these tools have a bit different business model, different way of pricing, right? And if one developer wants to learn data and analytics, he need to have a steep learning curve to go through these tools, right? Because for a developer to switch from one tool to another tool, even if you see the Microsoft learning, the certifications are also different today, right? So there is a deep expertise required for each of these tools to make sure that you are able to work in these tools, right? And after you complete your coding in this tool, then at the end of the day, you need to integrate this code to work with other two set of tools. So still, it is a far too complex. I remember my experience with working with multiple customers, where just setting up the tool itself takes so much of time because every tool had its own infrastructure requirement, right? And then you need that expertise, right? Not just infrastructure, but integration expertise. So that there comes the challenge, and that is where it becomes very challenging, right? So what is the answer to this problem, right? Answer is Fabric. And why Fabric? Let's see why it is Fabric. Answer. Because the same tools which we are talking about, they're already inbuilt into the Fabric on the top of one lake. And what is that? Let's understand it. So Fabric provides a complete analytics platform, right? It provides a unified analytic platform. When I say unified, means it unify everything. It is a SaaS-based platform. It is a secure and governed with the Microsoft ecosystem, right? It works on the top of the one lake, okay, which is a one data lake. Instead of creating multiple storage account, multiple places you are storing your data, it provides you a unified approach of creating one single lake where one single source of truth. As per the TUGAF principle, there is a best practice that you should have one single source of truth for your data, and that is what Microsoft Fabric provides you, right? Which means that you don't need to duplicate your data once in the data lake, then once in the data warehouse, and different places in on premises. So because when you do the data duplication, there are lots of challenges comes, because then you need to copy the data, you need to make the data is consistent across the different storage locations, right? So that is where the value comes, where you are actually making it a one copy of the data at a one tier. And it also empowers every business users, because all the business users who already worked on the Microsoft tools, it is providing you similar kind of experience, right? And like, it is built on the top of Microsoft 365, very popular uh, tool, right? And people are already aware about it. They've been using it for last so many years. So for them, it is very easy to work in this tool, right? And very easy to spin up the interface, and then start working on it. And the top of it, the power comes from the OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, where it gives you AI capability with the help of Copilot and the GPT chat GPT model, which is built in the Azure, right? And it provides a AI driven insight in no time. If you know English language, that is good enough. You don't need to know many different languages today. So that is the power of it, and that is why it is a game changer. So how it works? Because any SaaS application, very easy to spin up. Go to Azure, just create a resource group, and then it is ready to be used in like next couple of minutes. It is ready to be used, right? There is no problem in onboarding the tool. There is no question of provisioning problems, right? Setting up the it's very fast, and there is no different knobs to attach to it, which is you need to adjust those knobs if you are doing the integration with different tools. And the top of it, it is auto optimized without you providing any optimization characteristics. It provides you all automatic optimization techniques inbuilt into the tool, so that you can focus on the insights instead of just focusing on building that optimization scenarios, right? It is integrated with the ecosystem of the Microsoft, right? And then it also provides a centralized administration where you have a tenant level administration and governance, and it uses all the Microsoft ecosystem tools like Purview, right? And and most of the customers who are going to use this tool, they are already aware that Microsoft has invested so much money on the governance security, and that is where the compliance is already inbuilt into it, because you don't have to put extra set of tools, right? Like Colibra or other tools for the governance and security, because it is built on the top of a Microsoft Entra ID or Azure ID, right? And then all the Purview or Microsoft Purview and all other tools. So that is where the power comes. So when I say when we set up this tool, there is different personas already created with this tool. So when I say personas, means if suppose you are a data scientist, then there is a separate persona. So you can just switch that persona in no time. If you are a data engineer, then there is a separate persona which is built, right? And you can just switch the persona in no time. Just one click, you are changing the persona. So that is how the value comes, and it is single tool, just changing the persona and you are working on that persona without switching the tool from one part to another part, which used to be the experience in Microsoft ecosystem, right? So that is why this tool is a game changer, adopted across the industry, right? Now let's talk about what is Fabric Copilot and why it is important and how do we set it up. Because if you can set it up uh, properly, then and there are lots, it does not require a lots of skills. It is just couple of clicks to set up the Fabric Copilot. So let's see how we can do it. So to set up the Fabric Copilot, first what you need to do, you need to create a Power BI workspace. And in Power BI workspace, you will go to the admin center here, right? And then in the admin portal, when you go to the tenant setting, in tenant setting, there is an option at the last. This is all, the last option, right? And that last option, you can select the Copilot here and enable it. There is an enable toggle button and then press apply. Once you press apply, your Copilot is enabled. But there is a caveat. What is that caveat? Fabric Copilot only works with the F64 capacity. Okay, it does not work the capacity below F64. So for that, what you need to do, you need to go to Azure portal, create a Fabric capacity, and in Fabric capacity, very standard way, you can create a resource group. You can name your instance of the Fabric Copilot capacity, and then select the F64 capacity minimum or anything above F64. If you selected less than F64, this tool will not work. And then it is click, 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 and next, done. So now your capacity is created. So once your capacity is created, what you need to do, you need to attach that capacity to the Microsoft Fabric workspace, which you have created in the earlier step. So how will you attach it? You will go and create a workspace. In that workspace, you are going to select the capacity, and that capacity you will select here. And once capacity is selected, you will say apply. So now your workspace is created. That workspace is attached to that capacity which you have created earlier. And then with that attached capacity, now you are up and running. And if you come to the admin portal and then go to the capacity setting, you will see that capacity which you have created in the Azure. It will be listed down there. At that capacity, you can select and then it is ready to be used. So it's very, very simple, very intuitive, no knobs, no it's like within 2-3 minutes you can set it up, right? So now before we delve deeper into it, let's understand how can we work with this tool, right? And how can we exploit the full potential of this tool? How can we get a full potential of this tool? So Fabric provides you a concept called magic commands. What is magic commands? And actually, let me tell you, this is really a magic. Why I'm telling you magic? Because magic command provides a certain set of commands in a specific syntax where you can extract the information, quick information from Fabric. You can automate coding tasks with this magic commands, and right, in a consistent way. It also help you to maintain the privacy of your code, and very efficiently you can create Fabric notebooks and then enter those magic commands. You might be thinking, what is this magic commands? Never heard about it. So let me tell you what is this magic command and how it looks like, where we can use it, how to use it, right? And I think that if you learn this small, very basic, intuitive commands, you can easily run this tool. So let me explain you how this magic command works. So first and foremost, whenever you create a magic command in the notebook, you will have to put either 1% sign and then the magic command, or 2% sign and the magic command. So here in this example, first magic command is for chat. So what you can do in this magic command, you can chat with the Copilot and ask any question, right? So like in this example, I am asking a question that what variables are currently defined. So this is my question to the Fabric Copilot. Now, there is another very important magic command called code. So this magic command generates the code based on your prompt. For example, if suppose I am telling load my data CSV into the pandas data frame, this is my what I'm telling it to do, and it will generate a very good code, like professional code once you execute this command. Then, if you want to describe data frames or describe any data set, then you can use percentage describe. There, it will describe the statistics of the data frame, right? Like how many columns are there, how many records are there. Everything it will do. You don't have to worry about setting up different commands for this. Then there is a command where if you have a huge code already written, you just copy that code and run this command, add comment. It will automatically add those comments in your existing code, right? And one of my favorite command is fix errors. So let me tell you, Fabric Copilot is still in the preview. It's not fully launched, right? It's not GA. So and Microsoft, whenever you're using it, Microsoft claims that there might be problems in the code generated by the Copilot. So if there are problems in the code and you cannot run the code, they have given a nice command called fix error. Once you enter this fix error command, it will automatically analyze these errors and try to fix those errors. And let me tell you, this is not 100%. Like you cannot expect this fix error to fix everything. There might be chances that the command may not fix full errors. So there you need to delve deeper into it and see what the issues are, and understand, and then fix some errors. So, but again, I would say that it works almost 90% of the time, but there might be chances that you may not see, that it is fixing the full errors. And then for setting the sharing level, for the restricted sharing, if you want to share it restrictedly, or, so that there are commands around it for set sharing level for that. Similarly, you can also set up the privacy setting. You can also set up the like suppose you are running a cell, and in that cell you are actually running the command for the magic commands. You want that output of the code should come in the next cell, not in the same cell. Then you can set the output to come to the next cell, not in the same cell. Otherwise, what happens, your command output will come and in the same cell, and then all the things will be gone, your prompt will be gone. So that is where it works. You can also pin your specific data frame which you are working on. And then here, last but not least, this new task actually clears the current context and set a new task, so that you can like one example is follow by a description of a new task to set up the AI context. So you can set the context, you can set a new task out of it. Okay, so with this you are fully familiar about Python code auto generate magic commands. So let's see what are the advanced data strategies for these commands. How do I make sure that I'm using this tool to its fullest extent? So let's see how can we do that. So first and foremost, for any tool which is AI based tool, you need to understand that there are prompts which is very responsible for generating the required output. So if you understand the prompt, right, and prompt has two different parts to it. First part is goal, right? Goal means what you are trying to achieve. Like for example, in this, we are generating 3 to 5 bullet points. Like, so this is your goal. And then you need to also specify the context. Context means, in this example, why do you need it and who is involved? That means in this example, the context is to prepare me for a meeting with client X to discuss their phase 3 brand campaign, right? So here we are setting a context. And then the third part is, you need to provide some information that is called source, right? Or you need to provide a proper like some information to it, so that this information it can be used to work on that, and then it can generate the output. Then the last is expectation. What are you expecting from this prompt? So you are like in this example, you are expecting it that please use a simple language so that I can get up to the speed quickly. So you are expecting this prompt to deliver this. This is your expectation. You are providing a source, that what it need to do, what information or samples you could, want it to work on. So it is a email and team chats, right? So that is where, so these four parts: goal, context, source, and expectations, these are very, very important, right? And if you know how to stitch it together to make a nice prompt, then I think you can easily create any nice prompt, and it will give you the desired output, right? So what are the different tips I just want to share with you to make your experience wonderful? So first of all, you need to understand that there are some limitations of Copilot, right? It's not 100% like, going to give you the 100% accurate result, especially when Fabric Copilot is already in the preview, right? Then you need to be very professional and polite when you provide this prompts, and you need to make sure that your language is very crystal clear, right? It should be, make sure that you are putting a proper punctuation, grammar, and capitalization, right? It will not understand anything which is grammatically incorrect, right? You make sure that whenever you are writing something, it will help if you can put a quotation marks, right? If you, because you want it to specifically specify specific set of things, so that things should come under the quotation mark, right? So, and then whenever the Copilot is working, make sure that you are telling it that you are trying to start a new topic, right? So these are the some helpful tips. If you use these tips, I think 90% of the time it will give you the desired results, right? Now, what are the advanced data strategies? So there are some do's and don'ts. So what are the do's and don'ts? First of all, be clear and very, very specific what you want Copilot to do, right? Make sure that this conversation is happening in a conversational manner, that tool is giving you the response, you are asking the question. So it should be very conversational oriented. Give some examples, because if you give a specific set of examples to the tool understands that what you are expecting from it, and it will give you those answers in that fashion, right? It will also ask for the feedback, so you need to provide the feedback whether it gave you the correct answer, so that it can change its strategy, right? And you need to also very write very legibly, so that tool can understand what you are expecting from it. Make sure your prompts are very accurate, no grammatical mistakes, and provide as much detail as you can, right? So you need to provide as much detail so that tool understand which detail it need to work on, and be very, very polite. Some of the pitfalls when you use Fabric Copilot, let's understand that. So first of all, don't be vague, and don't expect that tool will understand what you are expecting from it. So you need to write those things very specifically. Your sentences should not be very vague. right? Otherwise, if your sentences are vague, your answer will be say garbage in, garbage out, right? Then make sure that your request is, you are requesting inappropriate or unethical content. You should not be, because there is a responsible AI, right? And in responsible AI, which means that you need to ask very specific, answers, which is ethical, and otherwise it will block those things while you are asking that questions, right? Don't use a slang or jargons, or informal language, because those jargons are very specific to your enterprise, your company, or you only know it, and tool does not know it. So that is where the gap will come. And you need to also give don't give a conflicting instructions, right? So if you are giving first instruction and then you are again contradicting that same instruction in the next prompt, then the results will not be very obvious. It is going to be completely different. So if you give a conflicting instruction, then tool will be confused and it will not understand what is expected out of it. And then if it is working on a certain flow or a certain topic, right, don't interrupt it in the middle of it, because what happens once you interrupt it, then its flow changes, and then after that it will not be able to catch up that flow. So then if you are expecting some answers from the earlier flow, it will not give you that flow. So these are some do's and don'ts and advanced data strategies. If you work on these do's and don'ts and then create your prompt, it will definitely give you the nice output which you are expecting from the tool. Okay, so enough theory. Let's dwell deeper into our demo, right? So let me explain you what this demo will do. So first, we are going to create a data flow Gen 2. And in this demo, we are first going to filter the customers by the region, right? Then we will count the employee count by city. We will create some sample data, and then we will create a fiscal calendar table, right? In that table, we are going to add a couple of columns. So this is the first demo for data flow creation, and let's dive into the demo. So let me switch the camera screen. Okay. So here is my Fabric capacity, which is F64 capacity. And then this capacity is attached to my Fabric workspace. And this workspace is, I have created a very specific workspace for Copilot Demo WS workspace. And now this Fabric capacity is running. I can pause it once I'm done with the demo. But at this point of time, this capacity is running. And then there are these notebooks which I have created. So once I create a notebook, it will appear it here, right? And let me also quickly show you how this tool, we can enable this Fabric Copilot. So you need to come here in the tenant setting. And at the end, you will come here, use Copilot, enable it, and apply. So this is first part. Then you need to select the capacity. And in the Fabric capacity, this capacity is active. So at this point of time, I'm using this capacity. So there could be multiple capacities, right? So let's now create a data flow Gen 2. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to my workspace and create a data flow Gen 2. So let's see. Here is a data flow Gen 2 in the data factory. So here what I'm going to use, I'm going to actually get the data. So there are lots of options to get the data. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to use OData data source. OData data source, you can provide a particular URL. So this is the OData service endpoint for Northwind database, and this is where I'm going to get the data. So let's go ahead and fetch this data. So in no time, it started showing the OData tables, right? And there are lots of tables. So instead of fetching all those tables, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually fetch first table order, and then I don't know how many tables are there and which table to fetch. So Fabric has given you option to select related tables. So it will automatically understand that what are those tables where it need to fetch that data. And then now it understands there are 5 tables: customer, employee, order details, and order, right? So there are these many tables, and then shippers. So I will go ahead and create it. So once I create it, it will come here, and you can easily see these tables are available now. So now here, if you see, if I click this Fabric Copilot, this particular Copilot will be enabled on the right side, right? So now let's see if I can, because I'm actually using the AI prompt. Can I use this AI prompt to display the set of customers from it, right? So my first prompt will be only keep customers residing in European countries. Okay. And this is where I need to fetch the data for the European country, the customers. And before we do that, first of all, it is giving you this Copilot is in the preview. So what it means to say that there are chances that this particular query may or may not work, or that may throw the results. So, and sometimes what happens, even if you are generating the query, first time it may throw the errors, second time it may run, and once you start fresh, then it may run perfectly fine. So let's see how it works. So I'm actually selecting the customers already, and then I'm running this only keep customers residing in European countries. And you know that there are multiple countries in the Europe. Okay. So let's see what does it do. Okay. So this is what it automatically added, and let's see what does it mean. Yes. So it automatically added the following steps: query customers, right? So it automatically added that step, and which means that it actually created a if I come here, right? So it is telling that text contains country Europe, right? So which means it is going to filter the rows where the country is Europe, right? Okay. So it automatically added that, right? If I say that if I want to delete the steps, let me show you that. It may not work, or it may work. Depends, how the prompt is done. So if it does not work, it will say that sorry, I cannot do it. Please try rewording your request and tell me something else you want to. So sometime you will see that this may not, because it's in preview, right? So I will delete it again. Like I can delete it manually, right? Okay, so now this is my query where the data is coming, and it is filtering those countries, right? And if you see, these are the countries, right? So now let's see if I can uh, change this query. And in order for me to change the query, I can actually delete this step, or change this step completely. So what I can do, I will delete this step, right? Or I can add a new query on the top of it. So if I change this query by saying that, only filter the customers residing in the European countries, what happens? So it's working on it. Okay, so let's see what does it do. Yeah. So to see how intelligently tool understands that in Europe there are these countries: Germany, France, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, United Kingdom, and Austria. You don't, because see, there might be different countries in that geography, right? So it automatically understands. It automatically created this query to filter the rows for those countries, right? And gave you the result. Amazing. So you don't have to write this code. You don't have to figure out how many countries are available, right? So that is the quality, that is the value of it, right? Now let me go back to the earlier editor and see what does it. So now it is doing perfectly fine, right? Now let's go here and then see, count the total number of employees in the city. Okay, so let me go here, select the employee table, and then I'm going to put this query, count the total number of employees by the city. Yes, so it worked fine, and it is providing you the number of employees in a particular cities, right? Then you can also set sample data, right? One example of the sample data will be, if suppose you want to create a sample data, and in that data you want to create a new query. In that query, you want to list all the Microsoft OS versions and what are their years when they were released. So this is where you can run, and it will automatically create a query where it will list down all the data set for the operating systems data set and create a query out of it. So this is the query, and now you see it created the different OS and then their release dates, right? Now another example I'm going to give you: create a fiscal calendar. Okay, and in that fiscal calendar, list all the necessary date columns between 1/1/2000 to 12/31/2024. So let's see if it can create a fiscal calendar table, right? And if it creates a fiscal calendar table, then you can keep adding those columns whatever you need. So in this example, there is this query it created, and yeah, wow. So it created a different fiscal calendar from 2000 to 2024, and all the values like quarter, month. Now let's run a couple of more queries. Add a week column. Suppose I want to add a week column in this. Okay, so let me add a week, and let's see. Wow, it added the week column. You can see. Then let's add a couple of more columns. One column could be add a day of the year column to the query. So now it is adding day of the year column. This is a day of the year column successfully added. I'm not adding any code. It is generating the code for me. I just know English language, and now I'm working with this tool, right? It is a game changing tool. Trust me, you don't have to know all the code, Python code. Or now here is a challenge. It came back with this that I cannot do this because again it is in preview mode, right? So there might be chances that at some point of time you will find this issue coming up. sometimes this code will work perfectly fine, right? So you may have to change it, or you may have to reset it to make it work. Like one example I'm giving you. Add a quarter column based on the year and quarter column formatted in this fashion. So now I want a quarter column to be added in this particular format. So you see the tool is working and it is adding this column, and voila, this is added year, quarter, and then in the exactly same format. Now suppose I want to replace this q to the lowercase q. Obviously you can do that, and the tool will do it in no time. See how powerful it is. You are not doing any coding, you are just putting an English language statement and done. This is in a lowercase, right? So with this, you understood how to create a data flow. Now let's switch the gears and come to the next demo. Okay. So in this demo, I'm going to start a, I'm going to create a notebook. I'm going to save this, close it, and create a brand new notebook and see whether I can run some machine learning experiments. Okay. So I'll quickly create a notebook. And in this notebook, I'm going to use Copilot. So there are two ways you can use Copilot, either in this screen or you can use the notebook directly. So I'm going to say get started. The moment I say get started, it started creating some Python libraries and it will install the Python libraries. These libraries are very, very important for you to work on the Copilot. So let's see. So this library is getting installed. We need to wait for the because this library contains all the magic commands. Then I'm going to write a code, and in this code, what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually tell Copilot to use a sample data set in machine learning library, right? And then get me the data from the machine learning. So this is my sample code, and see how legibly and very straightforward code I wanted to write, right? So what I have written it in such a way: develop the code based on the below steps. Create a data frame DF by connecting to the Azure Blob Storage using the Azure Open Storage account, Open Data Storage account, and I need to access the diabetic data set stored in the MS sample container in the storage account. And the storage account name is this. And I want it to use the Spark read to the data in a Parquet format. And this container allows the anonymous access, so no SAS token is needed. So I'm providing a very clear instruction that what it need to do. Then I also told it to include the comments, include all the desired libraries which is used for this, and then display the first 5 records. So let's see what code it generates. So it starts generating the code. And by the way, you don't have to remember those magic commands. Every magic command is coming here. So if you want to refer this magic commands, you can just see what this magic command works. Wow, this generated me a code, wonderful code, and it automatically imported the libraries, reading the Spark, data frame, and then displaying. Let me run this code, whether it works fine or not. It works fine. Now I am able to fetch the data. Now let me run another code where I'm going to convert the data frame to pandas and display the header of the data frame. Yeah, it worked fine. See, I'm able to create a panda data frame in no time. Okay. Now I want this code to create a separate column. Okay. And that column, what it will do, it will create a formula. And that formula will be created by adding this formula where we in the data frame, whenever a value is coming more than 211.5, right, it will create it as a 1, otherwise it will create it as 0. So I'm putting these instructions here in the code instruction. Do the following: create a data frame named df clean from the data frame of df pandas, add a column And in this column, this is a formula for the column, and display the clean data frame. Okay, so let's see how it works. Wow, created a data frame, right? And then it created a df clean data set with the copy. Let's see. Wow. So again, even if it generated this code, but that code is wrong somewhere, the problem is there in that code, right? So how do we figure it out that which problem is this in this code, right? So our best part for this code is going to be using the fix error command. Okay, fix error command will give you fix this error. So let's see that how we do this. So come here, and I'm going to put fix errors, right? And the fix error command will fix this error. Just a minute, I just want to make sure that I am using the correct syntax. So yeah. Okay, sorry, fix error is underscore. Just a minute. Okay, so 1 second. Here is the command fix errors. Okay, already fixed the error. 1 second.
Hello.
Yes.
Gurudev, कैसे हो? मंटू बोल रहा हूँ.
Command, right, which creates a fixed error. Second. Now let's see how this command actually fix those errors, right? So let me again generate this code. Okay, generated the code. Okay, so let's fix this error again. Okay, so here it is telling that df pandas with df to correctly reference the existing data frame, right? So here, because if you see in the earlier data frame, we have this one, right? So what we need to do in this case is we are going to actually create we need to create a change in the data frame. So how we will change the data frame? We are going to change the copy of the data frame, right? So let's see that how we can do this. Just a minute. Here I'm going to change this code. Okay, so that means there is some problem in the code. Why there is a problem in the code? Because if you see the earlier code here, right? In the earlier code, we have actually kept this. So there is no df pandas data frame. So if df pandas data frame is not there, then this data frame will not work here because we are referencing this df pandas data frame here. So for that, now it will work. Yeah, it worked. So it automatically created the risk. Then after that, what we are going to do, we are actually going to create a linear regression experiment on the top of it. So because now we have a data, we have a y variable in the machine learning, and now we are going to create a another command. This command, what it will do, it is going to split the data frame into the two data sets, testing subset and the training subset, and then it's going to split the data into 30% of the data for the testing, and then remaining will be used for the learning. So that data set is split. Now let's see this command. So it will run this command. Worked. Okay, perfect. So now let's run this command and see what does it do. Okay, it created a split of the data so that we can do the experiment. Right now, I'm going to run this experiment with a linear regression, and this is where the linear regression experiment will work. So we are going to create a experiment called diabetic regression, and we are going to import the library for MLflow, and then we are going to log this experiment. Then the next step, we are going to write a linear experiment code and log it. Okay, so I'm going to log this. Okay, this worked fine. And then the next step is going to be, I'm going to run a classification experiment. So for classification experiment, because linear experiment and classification experiments are two different set of experiments, right? So you can run any experiment. So in this case, again, I'm going to split it. 30% of the data will be used for the training, and then another set of data will be used for the testing. So this is how we are going to use testing and training. Again, the data set is created successfully. And then I'm going to actually run the diabetic classification experiment with the MLflow. Again, there is some challenge with this because this particular thing will not work because there is a problem in this. So I'm going to again do the fix error. And yes, it automatically fixed the error. Let's see if it works. Sometime it may work, sometime again there is a challenge in this. So for this to work, what I'm going to use, I'm going to change this code, because this code, there are lots of changes required. Like one example is this, and it is telling you that there are some problems in the code. So if you carefully look at the code, you will find that we need to specify the testing size to 30%, and the other size, remaining 70% for the training purpose. So here it is now running it. Okay, it ran successfully. Let me run it again. And now we are going to run the classification code to create a diabetic classification experiment with the MLflow, right? Okay, so let's run it. And then classification experiment is available now with the code. And now the diabetic classification experiment is running now. So now the last prompt I'm going to file, that please log this experiment and run the regression and then log the experiment here. So now it is running the experiment and log, the code is generated. Yeah, it's running it. So you saw that how easy it is to generate the code, how easy it is to chat with the tool and fix the errors as well. And let me tell you, there are lots of potential in this tool. once the final version of the tool is launched, there will be lots of improvement coming up. But even at this stage, you are seeing lots of good things. Like, without you doing the code, it is running fine and it started logging the experiment here, right? You see this, there is this is still running. Okay, so I think we are almost there on the top of the hour. If you have any question, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Yep, it ran the experiment here, right? And the experiment can be seen here. So this is the experiment for the diabetic classification and, linear regression. Both the experiments are already running, right? And then you can run the comparison between these experiments. Why that diabetic classification experiment is required? Because in this data set, we are actually getting the data from the diabetic patients, and the binary values, whenever we are using the binaries values, true or false, then the classification experiment works fine instead of linear regression experiment. So, but we have done both the experiments, and the beauty of it is we did not wrote a single line of code. Everything was generated with the tool, and it is working fine. Wherever the tool is not able to generate full perfect code, there is an option to fix the errors. And sometimes you may have to look into the code it is generating and fix some errors manually as well, right? So this is a caveat, but otherwise it's really good. Okay, so I think we are on the top of the hour. Any questions, please feel free to ask those questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Kamal, we have like couple of questions. Rajnish and Kamal, you would like to take it up? Yeah.
So yeah, before that, Rajni, I think this was a complete game changer. Even I didn't know the nitty-gritty part of it, where you could actually use just a simple text and get the output. So I kind of now have a question, like in general, like how, when it comes to a business, from a business perspective, forget about a developer, forget about from the marketing perspective, from a business perspective, if someone has to choose between Microsoft Fabric or the Power BI, which one would you suggest and why?
See, I would always suggest Fabric. And Power BI is a very, very popular tool, right? Everybody knows about it. But when it comes to Fabric, when you attach Fabric to it, its power becomes multifold, right? You are very familiar with the Power BI interface, right? And once you attach it to the Fabric, you are able to attach the humongous, vast amount of data into it and then create an insight out of it. Very familiar interface, right? All the prompts, everything is coming in the same interface. So for a developer who is already using Power BI, for him it is just very easy. No steep learning curve, right? So that is where the power lies.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, so I'll pick one question from the audience. I think there is Robert. I think he must be from your team. He's waving hi. Not sure. But anyways, he has a question stating Power Query uses the mQuery language. Is that correct? Just to
Yeah,
confirm.
yeah.
Okay.
So that is where we have done. I have shown you the query, right? Whenever I'm writing that query for the fiscal calendar and everything, that query is getting generated there from this tool, and it is generating, and it is intelligently understanding what you are expecting from the tool. Like European countries, there are these European countries automatically added those values there, right? So it's very useful. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Robert, I think your question is answered. But on the same line, I have a question. Now, can you kind of undo this query? Because I could see whenever you type a query, you can only undo the previous one. What about other queries? Can I undo it? Say, for
Yes.
example, I create a table and then I add another column and then I do some kind of calculation over all the columns. Say, example, I want to again modify the first query that I've done. Can I undo it?
Yes. So currently, undo does not work from the tool, but definitely in the steps, you can go ahead, delete that particular query by clicking it, and then it will delete. Then you can
Oh,
start from the earlier query instead of the query which you created. Suppose at some point of time, tool is generating the query, you don't like the output. or you want to change your flow, you can delete that query very easily.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how about importing queries? Is that also possible?
Importing the queries, definitely in Power BI, you can do all that copy paste of the query, right? Importing the query. You can give the query back to the tool and tell it to change this query based on your prompt. It will do that, right? So yeah, and I'm thinking that tool is still new, right?
Okay.
Microsoft is working very hard to make it GA in next couple of months. But let me tell you, this is very promising.
Indeed,
Amazing tool.
indeed. When I looked into it, I was like, I still remember the days where I used to create tables, get into it. So I remember how easy it is just by writing a simple text. So I'm literally talking to someone or I'm talking to myself, telling, okay, now create a column with so and so condition, create a column, do this. And I'm able to get it in instantly. So that is really working.
I mean, you don't need to know machine learning. You don't need to know very good Python, right? It will generate the Python code, very basic understanding. Even if you have, you can change that code whenever you need, and then predominantly 90 to 80% of the time, it's already delivering the good quality code with comments and everything. So yeah, it's a game
All
changer.
right. Indeed. I'll pick a last question. It's again from Robert. He says, is there a reference in Learn that kind of compares between differences between data flow, Gen 2 and original data flows?
Yes, there is a reference in the Microsoft Learn, and the data flow Gen 2 is launched with the Fabric. It has more capabilities on the top of it, right? It's a different version altogether, right? You are very used to the earlier data flow in Synapse, right? With the data flow Gen 2, it provides more speed and performance and more capabilities on the top of it. Yeah.
Okay. So I think you might send the link later. Maybe we can share it to Robert
Yeah.
if he really wants to
Sure.
dive deep into it.
Sure.
So I think we have covered most of the questions. So yeah, thank you, Rajneesh. I think definitely people who really are into the data analysis stage and are looking to kind of explore Microsoft Fabric definitely serves as a comprehensive analytic platform, kind of brings all your data analytic tools to your organization. So it kind of needs for a data analysis. So I think definitely it's a comprehensive tool. So if you haven't tried one, definitely give it a try. I'm going to give a try and explore a few more parts of it. So Rajneesh, thank you so much for being on Copilot Chronicles. That was an amazing session. So looking forward to it. If you have something to say, please go ahead, use this stage.
Yes, thank you so much, guys, for attending this session. Please feel free to connect with me if you need further help in this tool. And my LinkedIn is already there. I'm going to post my LinkedIn information here, right? Or you can post your questions in the YouTube. I'll be more than happy to do that. Yeah, it's already there. Thanks, Kamal. So feel free to reach out to me if you need any help on the tool, right?
Definitely, Rajneesh. Thank you so much. Definitely, I think Parth is really helping us with all these links. So thank you so much, Parth. And looking forward for a next episode in Copilot Chronicles. And until then, good evening, good afternoon, and a good morning, everyone. See you. Bye.
Have a wonderful day ahead, guys. Thank you.